back to another episode of Life of a Rich Girl, where it's all about education, elevation, and exposure to your rich life. We focus on 5 primary things: being rich in mind, body, spirit, relationships, and wealth. We believe that you can live rich in all 5 areas of your life. Today, we're talking about mindfulness. Now, I know you probably heard this topic thrown around here and there. Everybody's using this term mindfulness nowadays. We're just going to have a conversation about it from our perspective. Before we jump into that, I want to stop and do our favorite segment, Something You May Not Know. Girls, here's one for you. I don't know if you've ever struggled with this before, but listen, that whole putting your own bracelet on, trying to buckle that clasp for yourself. Here's a little tip that you may not have known. You can put some tape right around your wrist and then attach your bracelet to that. It stays in place. You can buckle it all by yourself. You don't need anyone's help anymore. Look at you. You're so great. So then pull that tape off and you're all the way in there. Exactly.
Stop buying stretches.
Something you may not know.
I didn't know.
I love these things, ladies. There's so much in life that we learn along the way. Some stuff we make it up. And then there are these little tricks that we get to learn that we say, that just saved me so much time and made my life so much easier. So there you go, girls. Something you may not know.
All right.
Hey ladies, Coach Keisha here. This episode was brought to you by BLB Athletics, where we strive to help women be better than yesterday while tapping into the athlete within with healthy fitness goals and meal planning.
So today we are talking all about mindfulness, and I have my 2 friends here with me again today. I have Keisha.
Hey.
And I have Jelon.
Hey.
So look, these ladies, y'all know them by now. They are my really good friends and also co-founders of Rich Girls Club with me. And so we do a lot of great things together. And so today we invite you into this conversation around this topic of mindfulness. And listen, as always, we're sharing some of these things that we want you just to say, how am I showing up in that area of my life? Because remember, the rich girl lifestyle is not just about gaining more information, but it's about assessing ourselves and checking our pulse on how am I doing in that space? How's my mindset? What am I doing in there? So, girls, let's talk about, what is this mindfulness and what have you been putting into practice for yourself? Let's start with you, Keisha.
Ooh, me first. Mindfulness, over the past, I would say 2 years, COVID did a number on everybody. So that put us into a space where we were forced to stop and think and be
with
more
ourselves.
mindful. And be more mindful. So for me, it was the stopping, like the slowing down and trying to be more aware of what was happening in my day-to-day life. It made me take notice of how much I was actually doing and how much of it I didn't need to be doing. So the mindfulness for me is paying more attention to myself.
Okay.
That's been a thing this past couple of years.
Okay, I like it. What about you, Jelon?
I think my mindfulness has come in where, just like Keisha, slowing down, but being able to value the relationships that God has given me and to take advantage of the information that's being provided. A lot of the times we have great people in our circle who provide great information. Karla, you for one, are very knowledgeable about a lot of things. And sometimes we just go, and it almost seems like that information is falling on deaf ears. You're not applying what's being told to you. So that is where that's my space right now, being able to just really stop and apply. Because I don't feel like the connection is I feel like the connection is for a reason. So I need to stop, listen, and apply, and not just listen and don't do. So that's that's kind of where so the action definitely has to be applied. We learn a lot being a part of the Rich Girls organization. So
we do.
Absolutely, yes.
We definitely learn a lot. And, that's so true. I think that a lot of adults, I always say this when I'm doing training and stuff, like the biggest gap for most adults is between what we know and what we actually do. So we know a whole lot of things. Everybody knows something about everything, right? But what are you actually applying to your life? So that's really big is the application of all the knowledge, because right now knowledge is at our fingertips.
Yeah.
I mean, knowledge is literally, you can learn anything. It's on.
It's on the internet.
You can Google it. I mean, you can YouTube it. You can take a 3-day class and you can literally be certified in all kinds of stuff. And if we're not applying the knowledge, then what are we really doing with all this knowledge? Right? What are we really doing? We're just absorbing. And I think we become these people that we're in conversations with people and we always have something to add to the conversation.
Right.
But when we look at our own lives, if we ever do that, right, what are we really adding to our own lives? And I believe that the mindfulness, the biggest piece for me is when we can sit with ourselves. I love my quiet time. So I have to be able to have that space to sit with myself. And so for most people, we don't do that. They don't take the time. They don't have a practice of sitting with themselves. So you're taking in all this stuff every day. You go to work, you're listening to podcasts, you're watching TV. I mean, you're talking to friends and you're running into people and you're just learning and hearing and taking stuff in, but you never really sit with yourself. And so I believe that was that thing with COVID. You know, people who didn't have a practice of being with themselves. That's why people were going crazy being at home. You know, no
cabin fever.
Right. That's what they were calling it. But, you know, and I can get cabin fever just from being in the house too many days. Right. And with no change of scenery. But I don't have a problem sitting with myself. And so I believe the more that we can sit with ourselves, the less we depend on other people to guide us and to make decisions for us. And so it's like we're always looking for a plan for somebody else, to follow.
That's easy to get caught up in, especially when you're just going. With the go, you then will realize, or you may not, but if you are forced into a situation where you have to stop, you can then realize that some of the go was not your own going. It was influenced by something else. And then you're just dogpiling it on top of what your regular life is. And you're doing 16 other things only to take inventory later and be like, now, how did I even end up over here? Whose idea was this? Was this even something I wanted to do? Or you're in it and you're realizing, I don't even want to be here. I could be anywhere but here right now.
Yeah. Almost like your substance becomes the traits that you take or things that you do for other people.
Gives you your
family
value.
included.
Makes you feel good.
That's what makes you you. And then when you sit with yourself, it's like, wow, who am I really? Once you strip all of this away.
Who am I? Who am I? And I do think that's a big part of mindfulness. And so it's a good starting place as well, right? So before you jump into 50 million activities, right? Doing everything that the internet.
How many of them is for you?
That Google told you to do.
Baby, I can build a car, I feel
doing
like.
Everything
YouTube.
that they told you to do.
I can go on YouTube and do it.
Exactly. But if you don't take the time, to be with yourself, you just start adding activities. And so I know that right now, it's like meditation is a trend, right? So meditation is trending. But prayer has always been around. Meditation is just a form of prayer. Meditation is just a form of prayer. And so let's talk about some of the things that you do in your space to just your mindfulness activities.
Just quiet time, which is something that I've learned here recently. So I am that person that started out just going, and not taking the time to sit with me. And so recently, just establishing quiet time.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily always happen in the morning. I have not set a time during the day. So maybe that's something that needs to be the next step in doing it. But definitely take at least 30 minutes out of every day now just to think about, meditate, and focus on what my next is going to be and what I need to do for myself.
I love that. I love that. And it's okay. You started, right?
Right.
So you started.
Right.
I love that you got started with it because sometimes things just seem so big or it seemed like such a task that we're like, oh, we keep putting it off, right? And so I love that you started it and you're saying, how does it feel now for you? Like, what is that like? What's some of the results been for you?
The slowing down has definitely been a great result from it. being able to understand me and some of the decisions that I make and why I make them. That's one of the big things, I think. So, and with that, it allows me to reflect and begin to make the proper moves that I need to do for myself.
I like that. What about you? What's some of the mindfulness things you've added to your regimen? Or do you have one?
I have one, but I will admit my mind moves too fast. So the meditation, I struggle. I struggle with meditation.
Okay.
Like, that's literally one of them, how they have the little video going on now, how your mind be moving so fast and people talking to you and in your head Usher is playing. Like,
Oh, wow.
Like, I caught myself I told Karla this a few months back. I had Blow the Whistle on repeat in my brain. And in the mornings, like, I would wake up and it was like that was my alarm. And I can go into prayer and into meditation and be in what I feel like is this calm Zen place. And then my brain is like, and then I'll catch myself and I'm like, how did I even get back there? So that's still something that's a work in progress for me. But I journal. I do journal. And journaling is something that I can sometimes get lost in, but a lot of times I feel like it's an emotional brain dump.
Yeah.
Like, my journal that I have specifically just for me is not, I don't want it to be anything about business. I don't want it to be about nothing but how I feel. It's basically a book, and Lord knows if anybody ever finds it.
It's yours.
But it's me. It's everything that's kind of going on in my head.
Right.
Pertaining to how I feel and how I'm processing and all those things. But I'm still in the habit of rushing through things. And even with the rushing, I find myself like fast reading my scripture in the morning. And then when I read the devotional that goes with the scripture, I'm stuck because I'm like, well, I understood this, but what was the basis? And then I got to go back. So just slowing down is still something that I struggle with, but it's definitely better than what it was.
Yeah. Progress.
It's better than what it was.
Progress.
But yeah, just slowing down. But again, I love journaling. That's my thing. But I've always kept a journal. Even as a kid, I kept a journal. So that was an easy transition for adulthood. It's just a nicer book now. A nicer notebook.
And I love all the notebooks.
Yeah.
So
I think you've been blowing the whistle since Brunch and Black. It's just
Since
been
last
in your
year.
head.
Yeah.
I don't know where. You know what? It's probably almost a year in now.
Yep.
Or
Since August.
Since August, you've been
From the
blowing
brunch
whistle.
last year.
that's probably where it's stuck.
Yes.
But it's like an alarm clock now. Like, and then at any given moment, I could be doing anything, and it don't matter how serious or whatever it is. And then it's just like, I'll find myself, because Karla sometimes asks me, like, if we're on a FaceTime or something like that, she'll be like, girl, what you listening to? And I'm like, I'm listening to something? Oh, no. That was in my head. Disregard.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
She just be gone.
I just be in my own
I love
little
it.
zone. But yeah.
I love it. But don't you think, and I don't know, do y'all think that journaling is a form of prayer? I mean,
Yes.
prayer is just talking to God and
Yes.
telling him, where you are, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Right? So it's not just asking God for things, but it's
No.
that's
It's
a way
it's
of,
a
I think that
gratefulness.
journaling is
A form of
I think it's a form of prayer.
Very much so. Very much so. There are a lot of prayers and gratefulness and thanking and, it's
In your
definitely, it's a prayer journal. You can just say it's a prayer journal, seriously. But yes.
Yeah.
Journaling is definitely, it's just in written form.
Right.
It's just in written
Right.
form.
I agree with that.
Our desires in written form, those things that we feel. And so, yeah, absolutely. And in our prayer time,
Yeah.
that's absolutely what we do.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. And so, and I just wanted to bring that up because sometimes prayer looks different for people. And if yours, comes in the form of writing in the journal, or if you spend, 30 minutes reading your Bible or whatever that looks like for you, that's your time and your way. And so as long as you have the connection and the relationship right there, I think it still works. Another thing that you mentioned, you were talking about being in that space of slowing down and really being able to slow down. I heard it was Dr. Miles Monroe, and he said prayer is, I think he used the 90% of God talking to you and 10% of you talking. And so he's like, but for most of us, it's 90% of us talking and 10% of, us listening to God. He's like, you go and you make all these requests to God, and then you hurry up and leave. You didn't even give him time to say anything.
Yeah.
And so I think when it's put in that context, it just made me so much more aware, and it helped me to be quiet.
Yeah.
It helped me to quiet my mind more. That was one thing that he said, and I learned it I heard him say it a long time ago, and it helped me to quiet my mind so much, because it's like, I don't want to just be talking at God all the time. I don't want to just be, I definitely want to hear. I want to be in sync. I want to be, in step with God. And so I find myself in that space now. And sometimes, I think I've told both of you this before, sometimes I can get in that space and I'm like gone for so long, like, right? But it's definitely something acquired, but you can even be quiet in your car just by turning off the radio and just, riding in silence sometimes. There's so many ways to quiet your mind. And another thing that I use sometimes in the mornings if I can't get into that space, my mind is running, I'll just put on one of those sleep masks and turn on some calming, just sound in the back. That sleep mask will I don't know what it is about the dark that comes in there, but it just allows my mind to be at peace. Right. Yeah. So that's a couple things, for you to try if you are ever in that space of, I can't make my mind shut off, right? So I can just, and I don't know that it ever completely shuts off. Yeah. Right? But you'll get in a space where it's calm enough where you can say, I'm not on that right now.
Yeah.
I'm not on that right now.
Some days are better than others, but
exactly.
that is a good tip.
Yeah.
I'm going to try that.
Okay.
So see if that get too short to stop.
I love it. I love it.
Try that.
So in this space of mindfulness, I think that the journaling is good. The meditation is good. Quiet time is great. But when we are at home and we are, like you're in the midst of something with your family, how do you really use this mindfulness in your day-to-day life? Like, right? So
I think that could be just in how you interact with your family. Like sometimes, say for instance, your day was hectic, before you got to your family at dinner time. Sometimes we can allow our day to bleed over into our evening. So I guess kind of maybe taking a moment, I'm going to say a moment, to kind of woosah and bring it down before you start engaging with your family, to see how that could look different. I mean, if I come in wired from my day and I never kind of take it down a notch, and then I immediately go into engaging with someone else in my house, then now I've thrown their energy off potentially. Like now they like, well, wait a minute, I was relaxed and chilled, and now you done came in on 100. Like, what is happening? Right. And oftentimes I will say, my husband will tell me, okay, you all right? Like he'll give me that look, and that lets me know, oh, I'm still wired. So let me go upstairs and do something. I don't know, just separate myself and then come back and breathe, try again. Yeah. But, I guess sometimes your environment, your daily environment can kind of adjust your mindset. And then when you come home and start dealing with your family, it could go right or left, Yeah.
So I just had it went the other way the other day at my house. So, I've been taking these evening classes. I'm not, anybody who knows me, I'm not a night owl. I'm an early bird. I'm up early, but I'm not a night person. However, I decided to put myself into 2 classes that occur in the evening. And so my husband, he comes home and he had been working. He had a long day that day. And by the time he gets in, and I was on. I'm like, da 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 da. Guess what happened? This happened. Da 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 da. And he's just looking at me. He's like, yeah. And I had to say, oh, he can't hear anything I'm saying right now. He
that just went in one ear and out the other.
That I'm saying to him right now. And I had to pull myself back in. And I think that is a part of mindfulness, being mindful of the environment that you're in, being mindful of others around you, being aware of how I'm coming off right now. And so I think it's so much more that we get from being able to spend the time with ourselves and being able to do our affirmations and things like that, that allows me to be in that space, because we know Before, it's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you not listening to me? Can you hear me? Because you can't read the room.
Right.
Right?
Because you still going. It's you all on you.
Because you all on you. That's so true. It's just all about you in that moment, and that's all you can think about. But I believe that being in that space of mindfulness and having those opportunities to really be able to be with myself, it allows me to be more present with other people, right? And so now I can see you. I can really see you. I can hear you, and not just hear myself, right? Because I'm more aware. I can be more aware and attentive to you as well. So
Aware
not just
of yourself. That's good. I like that. To be more aware of yourself, and then when you're wired, on the front end, you don't have to wait on the reaction or get the reaction and then be like, ugh, that didn't go the way I thought. My bad, sis. I didn't mean to say that. That's good.
Yeah.
Assess yourself before engaging with other people.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like it.
When the other people are your family, that place that you feel comfort, that place that you feel like if you mess up or something goes wrong, that they're going to be there for you. Sometimes you find it hard to be mindful because that's your place of comfort, So it takes even more energy. It takes even more work to have that mindfulness about your husband and you responding to, or him responding to you when you come home after having a bad day or having a wired day. Because what you feel like is, this is home. I can go and do whatever.
And turn up.
So it's even, I think it takes a little bit more when it comes to those who are the closest to us. We tend to put more thought into when we're going to work, what the boss is going to think, or how
that's so true.
How we're going to approach that and what we're going to do. But when I go home, it's home.
Yeah.
If I'm mad or I've had a bad day, then my husband's gonna be there. It's gonna be all right,
Yeah.
So, but then when you think about it, that affects your relationship. That affects, your household. So you have to definitely put more work in to be mindful about how you bring that energy home.
I heard somebody say recently that I can't remember the term they use for it, but they're talking about being able to take a few minutes to reset before you go into each new environment. So when you get to work in the morning, you left home, and so you were there with your family. And so before you walk into your building, being able to take that moment to be able to, just reset,
decompress,
prepare your mind for going into work. When you get home, you pull up in the driveway or in your garage and you take the moment to let that go and go here, right?
Yeah.
And so not that you can't share different things with different, in different areas, but being able to let go of anything that may be negative or didn't feel so good or whatever.
Yeah.
Because we know a lot of times when we go into work, you could have had the best quiet time this morning and so on and so forth. And you get into a space with people who maybe they didn't or whatever. Their life is different than yours and the things aren't the same. And I believe that's where the challenge comes in, is being able to stay in your space when you get around other people so that you become the person that changes the environment and not them changing you.
Be the thermostat.
Right? Yeah. So that's it. And so you want to be able to rub off on the other people instead of always being the person taking on. You want to set it, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to set it. And so I think that when you come home, you do feel relaxed, but eventually it's just who you are, right? It's just who you are. You're going to be this loving person. You are this loving person. And so even though it feels like my guard is down, right? Because it is when I'm home. I'm more relaxed. I'm more whatever. So that's fine. But you also have to see your kids and you have to see, your husband the same way we want them to see us, right?
Right.
So because we know we can come in sometimes and we have all this stuff. It might not always be that I have this good, and I want to just talk and tell you all about it. Sometimes I have stuff, right? And things are on my mind and it's heavy. It's heavy today, right? And I just need you to see me. And so I think that that's helpful too when we're in that space where we can just see each other. And y'all know my favorite word, always give grace, in the other spaces. Always give grace in the other spaces because we need the grace too. Right. We need the grace too because we're not always on it. We're not always on it.
Definitely. so that you can process correctly. You don't want to process wrong by not giving grace. Like, a lot of times, like you're saying, everybody's not going to love and feel and process the way that you do. So give them the grace. Anybody, yourself. Sometimes we got to give ourselves grace in how we interact and react. So I like it.
Good.
This is another wonderful episode that I don't have a pen for.
You want to take notes again.
Okay.
So I
better
think
than
that, that's the things that's happening now in this space is we know the journaling, the quiet time. We talked about our affirmations. So I know we're really big on affirmations, even inside of the
new
Rich
for
Girls
me.
Club. Affirmations
with
are new for you?
joining Rich Girls Club, affirmations was a new thing for me. I mean, of course, you get in the mirror and you be like, "Hey, girl, you look good. Go off, sis. Ow, you doing it." But just to make it like an intentional thing, that's something new. A new skill I acquired with the club, and it really does change your mindset. It really does. Like, you can't constantly pour positivity into yourself and get negative back. Like, you can't feel bad about yourself when you worthy. You know,
Yes.
I'm doing all the things, giving and doing it from an abundant place. You know, you can't say that and then be like, "Ooh, child, boy, I'm broke."
Yeah. No, that doesn't
You
go
can't.
together.
It don't go
No.
together. You can't.
Right.
What book was that? I don't. That's another thing. Reading more since I've been in this wonderful club.
Hey.
But I read, and I can't even off the dome tell you where I read it. But being able, and then lost my thought just that quick.
Giving
you know
abundance.
Giving
You
and
were there.
abundance, to be able to give and receive. Receiving was a hard thing for me. So seeing that and processing that from reading that book was like a awakening too. So I don't know what that is. Is that a black girl thing where we have issues receiving because we always giving? Is that a thing?
I don't know. We hear it a lot.
Yeah.
We hear it a lot in our community that it's hard for, it's hard for me to receive. It's hard for me to receive. And I don't know where it stems from. I think that a lot of stuff goes back to, this is just me. Y'all don't send me a bunch of messages and stuff telling me about all the things, okay? This is just whatever. This our time, okay? But I believe that a lot of this stuff goes all the way back to our ancestors, to us, back to slavery. And so the way that our mindsets were conditioned way back then, what were you looking to receive? You couldn't ask for nothing.
You weren't
worthy of
receive
anything,
That's
And so I believe a lot of the things that we deal with stems from way back then. And so it's just now that we're really in a culture where they're saying,
worthy.
"Hey, black women are here."
We're
And it's
worthy.
like we've been invisible for so long
Look at them.
to other people. Now, we've made strides.
Yeah,
We've made a
absolutely.
lot of strides. But I believe that from the cultural standpoint, and we're looking at America as a whole, it's literally every commercial you see now. It's, it's like, oh, finally they realize, oh, black women use this product. Finally they realize, you're here. Because we literally we're on every commercial that comes on.
Yeah.
It's black women and black men. We're everywhere now, especially women. And they're acting as if we never existed.
Yeah.
And so when
This
you
new species.
talk about
We just discovered it.
exactly being okay with receiving, I think it goes back that far.
makes sense.
And it
That's a real
takes
thing.
work, mindset, to get in a position to say, I'm worthy. And so that's why the affirmations are so powerful, because you start to recondition your subconscious mind. That, no, that doesn't have to be my norm. I know what it's been, but I can start changing it. And so that's not something that we learned. Our generation didn't learn that growing up. We didn't learn to start speaking things over our lives, even though it's a biblical principle. But when they were telling us to speak things over our lives when we went to church, that's not the kind of stuff they were telling us to say.
That wasn't it.
It would say Jesus, Jesus, Jesus over and over again. You know what I'm saying? And nothing's wrong. I'm going to call on the name of Jesus. However, God wants me to have my mindset strong too, right? He doesn't want me out here just being a weak-minded person. He called me to so much more. There's so many gifts in all of us. Look at all the things that just the three of us do. There's millions of women out here. There's so much for us to do. So many things that we are capable of doing. But when we're in that space of never being able to receive, we're huge givers. We're huge givers.
Very
We
much
get
so.
buried. We are buried under a bunch of stuff, but don't worry. We always have something to give. We always have
okay.
something to give, which is a great
Contributing
thing.
at all times.
Which is a great thing.
Yeah.
But we
Always.
have to be able to give from a place of abundance and not
Yes.
from a place of lack.
Right.
We give from a place of abundance. And so we have to constantly keep ourselves in that space of being able to grow so that
Right.
it can be out of abundance.
Right,
And you're not dry over here. You know, you over here dry heaving, trying to give to somebody,
Ain't
you know,
nothing left
because
in the
there's
tank.
nothing there.
Nothing.
You have nothing.
And we steady trying to
You
pour.
steady-
The
There's
cup-
nothing there. There's nothing there.
You gotta
And every
shake it.
time somebody try to give you something, no, I'm okay.
No.
No, I'm okay. No, I'm good.
Oh.
Right?
Ooh.
How you good, sis? You over there about to fall out. You're not good, right? And so I think that, you know, that receiving thing, I think it goes back. But I'd also, like I said, I believe we've come a long way.
Yeah,
And the affirmations and retraining our subconscious mind is what helps us to get there.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
that's my thoughts on that.
I love it.
It's almost like being able, receiving has a price tag on that.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to
Like,
owe nobody.
yep,
We have
yeah,
all these
almost
things
definitely.
that was, you know, preconditioned. I don't want to owe nobody,
Yeah.
but you don't
Yeah.
never tax nobody when you give to them. You don't come back with your hand out
Right,
saying,
right.
you know. But I think it goes back to, again, just being aware of your own, you know, your own self and where you are and what do you have in your container to give, right? What do
yeah.
I have to be able to give? And then even knowing I need to be refilled in this space.
Yeah.
So I need to be refilled right here.
My cup is empty.
Exactly.
Who's overflow in my kitchen?
Right. Who can I say, hey, sis, hey, friend, whoever, who can I call on? Because I feel like I'm going down and I don't want to get to a place of depletion.
Right,
Depletion is never the goal. We shouldn't have to wait until we're depleted
To
to
ask
say,
for help.
I need help.
Yeah.
Don't get depleted. Don't go in the negative. Don't go over here where your glass about to dang on crack because it's so dry. We don't want that, right? That's
Right.
not what we desire. So I think being aware of where we are and what spaces need to be filled in our lives plays a big part in that too.
Yeah.
So I know in 2022, just a lot of things that I went through with my family and loss and just so many things back to back to back. Being able to have people that I could call and say, hey, listen, I'm not good right here. Hey, can you come in and help me right here? Hey, I need this with no strings attached. I don't owe nobody nothing. Like, right? Nobody's looking at me. And being okay with that. I don't feel no shame. I didn't feel no guilt.
Right.
I didn't
That's the
feel,
thing.
you know,
Right, feeling
I didn't
shame.
feel none of that. But I do believe that we take on so much of that, again, just because of how we were raised and the way we always thought we had to present ourselves
Right.
this way. And
It was
you always
expected.
have to have everything. And you can't ever ask for help because people now you're gonna owe them and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But those are old ways of thinking. And whoever said it was true. Whoever, is it in the Bible?
It's
So
in their
that's
foundational
usually our,
stuff, like you saying, how you was raised.
that's usually our place of reference.
Yeah.
Like, right? Did the Lord say
What book is it in?
So, but there we are in that space, you know, of feeling all of these negative emotions towards needing help when
Yeah.
none of us were called to do life alone.
Right,
None of us
right,
were
right.
called to do life alone. But that's the beauty of being in a community, right? Of being in a community and being self-aware. So
Yeah.
all of it just ties back together, which is why we love Rich Girls Club,
Right.
because that is how life should
I was
be.
just
We
thinking
should be
that.
able to live
Like-
life in harmony, right? And so it's no perfect balance. There's no perfect balance that we're in life, but it's the harmony piece. And so that mindset, though, you know, really sort of controls
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of it.
It's a shift. It's a big shift to start trying to become more aware and being okay in the spaces like you're saying with asking for help, receiving the help. And I'll say being in the community, being in Rich Girls Club, has helped that. I'm still not like, oh my God, look at this.
You're great.
I ain't got time. Let me call and ask somebody for help. That's still not my immediate first, but I'm okay with getting it to my third. And it's like, okay,
Instead
and usually
of not on the list at all.
Yeah.
Right,
And then
right.
typically there's someone in the community that's calling me because, again, we usually know what's going on with each other, and we're calling, hey, sis, you need help? What you got going on? How can I help you? And that's kind of like a refreshing thing to have someone that's a peer, to come to you and say those things. When your family does it, it should be received the same way. But I know for me, I'm still like, I got it. But like I say, this past couple years, it's something that I'm getting better at. And just being quiet. Like sometimes instead of taking on something that had nothing to do with you in the first place, sometimes I will just be quiet and let it run its course, and it's like, oh, I'm glad that worked out, or oh, get them next time, Tiger, because again, it's the peace. I feel like mindfulness is your peace, and to protect your peace, sometimes you have to be okay with asking for help, and sometimes not putting yourself in things that
you don't have to raise your hand. You didn't have to raise your hand for that. Who do I think I am?
Who do I think I am?
Right.
After the fact, that's what you're saying when you didn't. Oh, girl, I got you, and then it's like, no, when you gonna do that? Who do I think I am? Who?
I mean, I think we probably all can relate to that. We raised our hand one time too many to say, I got it, right? And I don't have it.
I ain't got it.
I don't have it.
I ain't got
really
it.
don't have it.
I ain't got it.
And so now we find ourselves in the space. We're never going to say I don't have it. We say,
Right.
what? I got to make it work.
I figured it
Not
out.
me. I learned, though. It took me some years, but girls, I've learned. And so I hope y'all start learning too. How to just be like, listen, I said I had it. I'll recruit somebody else if I have to.
Oh, she's a master delegator.
I will recruit
Master.
somebody else to help me. And I'm serious
I love it.
about it.
Yeah.
It gets done.
Because-
and effectively, too.
It has to.
Yeah.
It's got to work or it's got to work. Right? It's got to work or it's got to work. The answer is not, oh, I said I would, but now I can't, so let me give it back to you. No, I got to figure out how to make it work
Make it
now.
shake.
And so, right, because I raised my hand. That was my fault. I said, okay, girl, I got you. Right?
Yeah.
When I didn't have you at all.
Didn't even have
But
me.
I had to say,
Yeah.
I have to find another way. And that's okay. I'm still fulfilling my responsibility. Even with like people with kids now, women working, it's a lot of single moms out here. We're not, and that's great, but there are a lot of single moms out here. And so they're single moms like doing so many things, and I just love it. Like they're going to work, they're going to school, they kids in everything, the kids all put together. I'm like, look at her. Like I'm
Killing it.
Look at her doing all these things, right? But then you find she has a tribe.
Yeah.
Right? She has a tribe. And so even in that, we can't be afraid to say, hey, can you pick up Natalie from school on Tuesdays and Thursdays and drop her off at dance? I'll pick her up from dance, right? Because I need
just
help.
help me out.
Right.
But that's the power of community. And that's the power of you not sitting making excuses, but being in that space of execution, right? So it's execution over excuses every time. If that's the mindset, execution over excuses, it'll come to you when you sitting. It will come to you. If it doesn't come while you're sitting in your quiet time, it might hit you while you're on lunch.
Yeah.
It might hit you on your way home. But because I put it there, I need to solve this problem. It's there. I know that's not the answer. I can't make excuses and just be like, well, I can't show up. Natalie can't go to dance practice. You got to quit dance. Natalie has to quit dance, right? No, Natalie don't have to quit dance. But who's around me? Who's around me that can help me? What other resource do I have? And it's not just about the dropping off the kid, but we can do this with everything.
Yeah.
With everything.
Yeah.
If you just put it there and you're mindful in your time of quiet time and be mindful of it, the answer will come. It'll get revealed to you.
That goes back to the listening.
Yeah, you gotta be
listen.
quiet and
After
listen.
you give it to them, sit there and wait. Because you gotta listen.
You gotta be listening.
Response.
You have to be listening, waiting, expecting the answer.
The answer.
Not making making an excuse, right?
Already.
So if you didn't hear the answer right away, and I don't know the answer at this moment, I immediately start making the excuse and making up another route. Wait for the answer.
Create and
Wait for
provide.
the answer.
That's good.
So now you start creating solutions to something that you thought you said you wanted it to be different.
And
Right.
accepting the answer when you hear it. Because sometimes if the answer don't sound the way we want it, we like, but did you hear me though?
Right,
Because
right.
I said, and then when you get done with it, you're like, I should have went with the answer when I heard it the first time. I know I do that. I've done that many a days in my life.
Yeah.
I've grown. I've grown. Much more grown now. However, you can go back and realize that, you know, he told me on my first, you know, that first gut feeling that he gave me.
Yeah.
I should have listened to that instead of doing all these other things to only come back and do that. Wasted time. I've wasted so much time. So I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
One of the things I always say about revelation is how we always want it. We pray for it. We ask for God to reveal. And then when he does, if it's not what we think it should be, you procrastinate on the move. Procrastinate on, you know, taking that next step because you just totally thought it was going to be something different.
Don't look the way you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Not what you expected. So are you really prepared for that revelation when you're asking for it, you know?
And I know we say stuff like, we're always right where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there. And I believe that. I believe that God will provide for where we are. But I do believe that we miss things sometimes.
Most
and
definitely.
that things are delayed because
Most
of our
definitely.
choices or things,
Most
you know, we can
definitely.
go in a different, but that doesn't mean he's not with you and that he won't, you know, things won't work
It just
out.
means that your mindset wasn't where it needed to be for
At
what
that
you
time.
initially,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
asked for.
Yeah.
He's prepared. He's going to give it to you for meeting you where you're at.
Yeah.
You know, and then eventually, you know, if you keep on the path, it'll get you there. But it's that mindset. Like
Exactly.
you're saying.
Exactly.
You got to get the mind right. You got to get your mind right. Get your mind right.
All right, closing words for these ladies on this mindfulness. Let's start here.
Self-awareness. Just do your self-checks. Kind of sit with yourself to just understand who you are and what move needs to be made in your life. That's what I think is what I take away from this. Just being able to self-aware, sit with yourself and hear and listen and make the move when God speaks and says move. And don't procrastinate on it because it's not what we thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Same. I'm on the be quiet. Just be quiet, sis. Just be quiet.
That's what we on right now.
Be quiet.
Okay.
And when he tell you to move the first time, move. You know, I'm a former master procrastinator. But it's much better. My God. If I could go into detail.
I'm still a work in progress.
Baby. Now, I ain't saying I ain't all the way healed now.
Still a work in progress.
Look, I ain't all the way healed, but it's
Jesus.
definitely better than what it used to be. But to be quiet, because, you know, that's my problem. I don't know when to shut up. So be quiet and move when he say move, you know?
Yeah, I love it. And I think that procrastination talk, we'll have to bring that
That's a
back. We'll bring that
whole
as
nother
a part of.
I'm drowning.
We'll bring that around and talk about that
Bring it back,
procrastination.
bring it back.
So
Yeah.
some of the things that we've
Right.
done to make progress, to move away from it, and then some of the things that we feel like just we keep spinning in that same space. So I can't wait. That'll be a good conversation. So we'll talk about that too. But in this space today, ladies, we've been talking about mindfulness and what is it for you to continue growing rich in mind. And so a few of the practical tips that were here today, it's all about having your quiet time. You set that quiet time. I like mine in the morning. Jelon likes hers throughout the day. Keisha likes hers in the morning. When do you like your quiet time? You set it for yourself. Being mindful, listening to what God has to say to you at all times, like, right? Being in that space of being able to listen to what God says. We're not just talking, but we're listening as well. And so that's what we mean with quiet time and meditation. And so also we talked about that meditation and journaling being a big thing, and affirmations, being able to do that mirror work for your affirmations. Man, we didn't even dive that deep into affirmations. So
That's a game
I have
changer.
so many things in that I love, so many reasons that I love affirmations. They're so powerful for me. Man, those affirmations are life-changing.
And
So,
speaking them and not just reading.
Yes.
oh yeah,
Yes.
speaking it.
Speaking it gives it life.
Yeah. And as you speak it, if you don't believe it, you'll start to believe it,
Yeah.
right? So sometimes it starts
Definitely.
as a belief and then you can start speaking it. Other
Yeah.
times for some people it starts where you can speak it, but you don't really believe it yet,
Yeah.
right? But my principle is always that if I can speak it and I can say it, I can have it. If I can speak it, I can say it, and I can have it. If I can't speak it for myself, if I can't believe it for myself, right? I gave you speak and say. Believe it. Sorry. If I can speak it and believe it, then I can have it. And so we talk often about speaking it and believing it so that when opportunities come and the time comes, you can act on that thing that you've been believing for, right?
Mine.
So affirmations are just so huge. Man, I can give you so many great ones that I love, that I absolutely love. I have so many affirmations all around, and that my go-tos for different situations and different things. Just depends on what season of life I'm in. And then I have some that just, they're always there. They're those ones that, you know, I'm never going to get rid of. Right? But then there's other ones that I use in and out of different times.
So is there one that you've had for like maybe since you were a teenager that you said and it's just stuck with you?
So just that famous one from the Bible, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's been there. But I would say right now in this space, let's see, what's one that I'm using right now that I absolutely love? I would say that I'm more than capable. I'm more than capable. And so that's a big one. And I know we always talk about I have more than enough, you know, to give, right? And so that's always so good to my heart, is to be able to give. But we give from a place of abundance. And so I know we say that one a lot. I don't know. I have so many, y'all, about being worthy. Let's see what's on the mirror. Every day and every way, I'm getting richer and richer, wiser and wiser, healthier and healthier, wealthier and wealthier, and it's happening for me faster and faster. Every day and every way, I'm getting richer and richer, healthier and healthier, wiser and wiser, wealthier and wealthier, and it's happening for me faster and faster. I like that. That's on my mirror right now, but I think I picked that up from somebody. I can't remember where I heard it, and I put that one on my mirror, and so it's been there for some months. But so anyway, that's what I have. That's what I've been doing. But I hope that you ladies will, like we always tell you to do, take one thing that we shared with you in this show today and think on it. See if which one of those things resonate with you. Apply it to your own life. Apply it to your life. Start doing something different today. So until the next episode, be great and live rich. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And follow us on all your social media outlets at Rich Girls HQ. We hope to see you soon. Till next time.
Bye-bye, ladies.